Hi Shanti, it's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. And thank you so much for being here. And you see, oftentimes, Shanti, I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this often because I feel like it is very important. So firstly, I want to thank you, Shanti, for two things. Number one, thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some months back, yeah, I was on this particular road, and just by the roadside, there's this tall mango tree, not attractive at all, and it didn't even catch my attention. You see, I just walked past it. Why? Because it's got no mangoes on it and it doesn't look attractive at all. So I just walked past it. But you see, Shanti, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, something changed. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from afar, from a distance. Then instantly I got the urge to, move closer and have a good look. Then when I got closer, Shanti, I was wow. Because this time it's got a lot of mangoes on it and looks so beautiful and very attractive. And not just mangoes, but ripe mangoes. And it looks so beautiful. You see, I just couldn't take my eyes off it. The point is, the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. Okay, can you still hear me?
Sorry, I think I just lost you for a second.
Okay, here we go. Okay, can you hear me now? Here we go.
There we go. Yeah, now
Yeah,
you're on.
sorry, the issue of the network. So I said, yeah, the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming this amazing person that you are, that alone has made it very impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the message from me. Would you like to be on the show? So thank you so very much for investing in yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing I could do about it. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate that, Shanti. Thank you.
First, thank you.
Yeah, okay, so let's get to it. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. Because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, Shanti, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Shanti on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You say, Shanti, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. How to do this and how to do that, how to become this and how to become that. So those folks trust me for quality information. And I am totally convinced that our conversation is not only going to be insightful, but also impactful. So for that reason, Shanti, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We are just so curious right now. We want to know how you got here. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Shanti, over to you.
Of course. So, obviously, my name is Shanti Hershenson. I'm 17 years old and I'm a published author. I started writing in the middle of the pandemic, which obviously, as we all know, was a very isolated, very difficult time. I was 12 years old then. I was just stuck at home. I was watching TV all day. And I pursued a passion that I'd always been interested in. And from there, I really never stopped. And I just absolutely fell in love with writing more than I had when I was younger. And I used it to cope with a lot of things that had happened to me before the pandemic and during. And I really just turned like everything I was going to into beautiful pieces of writing and things that I was really proud of.
Amazing, amazing. That part where you mentioned you turned everything you were going through into writing. You see, That's a very important statement because not many people understand that it is possible to turn a terrible situation into a beautiful one that will then impact several people. And, just like you, many folks got to discover who they are through the pandemic. And that made me believe that in every terrible situation, there is probably some good in it. We just have to find it. So that's a beautiful word. We're gonna begin the first question. Are you ready? Okay. So how do you use or how can one use TikTok or social media? Let's just say TikTok, for example. How can one use TikTok to sell books and improve one's platform? Can you talk to us about that?
Of course. So I have found that TikTok has been very great for connecting with my readers. I make a lot of videos using music that I really like, connecting that to my books and like sharing the plots, the characters, even just pieces of my own story. And from there, especially because I write young adult books and the majority of the people on TikTok are young, then I can connect with my readers. And from there, I engage in the comments, I respond, I give tips to people when they need it. And really from that, and also posting consistently has allowed me to like share my work, but also like make new friends and really form a bond with my readers that I haven't been able to just from like advertising on like Amazon or doing other kinds of promotion.
Amazing. I never knew that. Now I just gained a very important knowledge. That's a beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let us talk more on. You mentioned during the pandemic you got into writing. How has been the journey? The writing journey. How has it been? Can you share some stuffs with us about it?
Of course, it's been amazing. Of course, it's been challenging. I started out, as I said, I was 12 years old and I had no idea what I was doing. And I think that's been a large part of my journey is just really like figuring it out on my own and really like learning through like trial and error and success. So, like a couple like major things that I've learned is that the best thing I can really do, again, kind of like what I said earlier, is to connect with people. And I think in many ways that's what being an author is connecting with readers through writing. So then I have found that doing a lot of events has been like one of the best parts of my career and getting to actually meet readers face to face. But then also I've really learned that I have to like write what I want to write rather than what other people want to write. That's the only way that I can really consistently get books out. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It's been difficult, especially being a teenager and having to learn all of this stuff at a really young age. But at the same time, like I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Beautiful, because I believe that's probably why you were born. Right while you're talking, I can sense the passion and how important it is to you. I tell you. So you mentioned it also been difficult. How were you able to handle those tough moments, and what are some challenges you faced that you may want to share with us?
Of course. So I remember distinctly one of my early challenges with the first book that I was writing was my writing style. I wrote this whole book. So usually I have it on my shelf, but I don't today. It was this really long book, and part of the reason why it was so long is just that I was writing in these really long sentences. Because I thought like that's what good writing was. Is it was supposed to be this really like flowy, really long, very detailed like prose. And I mean, ultimately, most books you open, you'll find that's not the case. But that's what I had learned and like figured out based on what I learned at school, which was evidently wrong. And so I really had to unlearn a lot of the like feelings I had about writing and a lot of the thoughts I had on how it was supposed to be. And as I was editing this book and as I was working with my editor, I had to realize like the most important thing is not that it sounds good, but that it's readable and understandable. So from there, and I think that experience really helped me shape my other books. And then in the future, I had many lessons to learn about, for example, marketing. And I learned that the most important part of marketing is what happens before the book release, not right the day it releases or after. And using that, I was able to like refine each book release to have a successful book. Because previously, it's like what I'd do, I'd make an Instagram post like a couple days before the book would release and be like, okay, I have a new book coming out, read it. And then after that, I would do some promotion. But really, promoting the books months before was what has allowed me to like get lots of reviews and really actually sell the book.
Amazing. And I just learned some amazing stuff from you now again. Okay, I got that. So let us get personal a bit. How do you balance writing and school? How do you balance the two?
Of course, I've definitely gotten a lot better at that over the years. I'd say earlier when I was just starting out, when I was in middle school, I had an issue where I was writing nonstop and I was not doing my schoolwork. And I was just like, well, this is not interesting to me. This writing is what's interesting to me. I'm just going to do this. And of course, in the long run, I've learned now that, yeah, school's important. It took really finding a school and a community that I really feel welcome in and I really enjoy. But now what I do is I weave my writing in during the school day. I have a free period now, so I write during the free period. And then after school, when I'm doing my homework, I also add in writing. So it's just like an extra homework assignment. But it's more than that to me, obviously, because it's like the most enjoyable homework assignment I've ever had.
Amazing, I got that. Okay. On the matter of school, alright, have you ever experienced being bullied?
Definitely a lot, and it's inspired a lot of my writing, I'd say. um I've always kind of in some ways been the kid that's like a little bit odd. I didn't have many friends, people were mean to me, but from that I was able to first off write some really good stories about it, but second really realize that like the things that maybe make me different. I'm kind of quiet. I really like writing. I spend a lot of time like reading or like talking about like the movies and TV I'm interested in. Like that's all helps me kind of become successful and really help me like fall in love with storytelling. So really like ultimately anyone that's gonna like be mean to me over that, it's just like not worth like caring about.
Yeah, I got that. You see, I feel like that's a very important topic also because I also had such experience. When I was in college, you see, it was so tough for me that I was bullied to the point where I just couldn't tell my parents the truth. And it got to the stage where I got some injury due to how they treated me. And when I got home that day, Shanti, my mom then said, "Where did you get those bruises from?" And I said, "From school." "What? Who did this to you?" And I said, "Someone." And she said, "I'm going to follow you to the school tomorrow and you're going to point out the person that did this to you." I said, "Yes, mommy." Then you see, when we got to the school the next morning, now my mom and the principal and everyone standing, and they said, "Now point at the person that gave you those bruises." And I was looking at the person right before me, Shanti. I couldn't point. I was so scared because a lot was going through my mind. If I point at him now, do I know what he's going to do to me when no one else is there? You know, I just said, he ain't in school today. He didn't come to school today. Then they said, "What's his name?" I, I, oh man, it was tough for me. But you see, I actually came out of it. So I want to ask you now, how do you think school can better handle this issue with bullying and all of this stuff? What do you think? I just want to know what you think about it.
Yeah, I think at the bare minimum, there has to be some sort of acknowledgement rather than acceptance. I find that a lot of schools, they just think that, like, okay, bullying, it's going to happen. It's a part of life, but it doesn't have to be. And I think when we realize that it doesn't have to be, that's when we can really start to handle it. We can, like, to begin, once we acknowledge that there is a real issue here and that there is an issue affecting our communities, then we can go and find ways to support the people who are affected by it and find ways to separate the people like involved, because what happens too often is it just like the schools kind of let it slide. And then from there also we could work on like finding ways to, like, I kind of want to say like punishment and like consequences, but in the same way, allowing someone who's hurting other people to realize like this is wrong, and then to kind of help them, but not to help them at the expense of other students.
So sorry. So
Oh,
sorry
no
about that.
worries.
Okay, that was a great one. Then what advice do you have for, teenagers who have been bullied or who are currently experiencing bullying and all of that?
Of course, my biggest piece of advice is to speak up about it, to tell someone, and often I think the best person you can tell is a trusted adult, just someone in your life who might have the wisdom to help you. And maybe that's a friend. But I think often that like telling an adult is really helpful. It could be like a parent, a relative, a teacher, a coach, anyone. Just then you can get the support. And then it's like a weight has been lifted on your shoulders. You're not alone. And then from there, you can create a plan of action. You can try to distance yourself from this person. You can find ways to meet other people, or even if you feel compelled, like speak up about it, tell your school, have those conversations.
Yeah, that's so correct. Okay, we have one more to go. Let's say you are not writing. What else do you do for fun?
So I do a lot of different things for fun. Of course, I go and I hang out with friends. I have 3 cats, so I love taking care of them and playing with them. I skateboard, and I love watching like movies and TV, and I mean obviously reading. But
Beautiful. Okay, what are the names of your cats? Can you tell us?
of course, so I have Apollo, Eclipse,
Okay,
and then Jin, who's named after the Star Wars character.
beautiful, beautiful names. Okay, Shanti, to bring this to an end, what would you like to leave the audience with? Like a final thought, and to those folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you're doing, or they've got some questions as to publishing books and all of those stuffs, or even get some of your published books, how can that be possible?
Of course. So my final thought piece of advice is just to never give up. That's been what's let me continue, and just knowing that, you know, if you're a writer, the only way that you like kind of fail in a sense is if you stop writing. So just keep on writing, keep on doing your thing. In terms of where you can find me, my website is shantihershenson.com. That's ShantiHershenson.com. You can also find me on Instagram, which is at Shanti Hershenson, and then TikTok, which is at Shanti Who Writes.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Shanti. Thank you so very much for coming, and thank you for sharing this amazing stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
That was